You are the first attendee in this conference. Your host has joined. Conference recording started.
Yeah, hearken to my sincere supplication. When I weak and when I stumble, you are always there to catch me when I fall. You are my rock and salvation. Only one that I can trust, you're my best friend. When out to you I'll give a shout. With hands held high, I'll be calling all your names. Yeah, I raise to worship you. Bow down, already up high, to worship you now. Yeah, I need you, I need you, yeah, I need you, yeah, I need you, oh, I need you, oh, I need you, oh, I need you, I need you, oh, I need you, I really need you, I need you, yes, I need you, oh, I need you, I really need you, I need you, oh, I need you, I bow down, I'll praise you.
All right, Israel, all praises. Happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath to you too.
Most High in Christ bless everybody.
Most High in Christ bless you too.
All right, so we're going to pick up on our journey to the Passover. And the Chosen is the name of this series here. So let's go to Genesis chapter 25. So in the last class, we learned how Isaac, being 40 years old, took Rebekah, that's in the 20th verse, Genesis 25 and 20, how him in an older age and not being a young man, he took Rebekah to wife, okay? The sister of Laban. So we'll pick up in verse 21. So Genesis 25 and 21, and Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. Barren is not, hey, Shalom. Hey, Asa or ASA, did you ever go to the Facebook and follow us on Facebook as well. Okay. And the Sham Shawan Israel. Follow us on Facebook. But anyway, so there's another situation where somebody was burned. So just like his mother was burned. So are these women truly in situations where they cannot have children, or is it just the will of the Most High and the doing process of time? Right. So as times got worse and worse and worse, you know what the Most High did? And something that a lot of you don't really realize, the Most High has given us over to our lust. And that's very painful right there. Go to the book of 2nd Ezra. In the Apocrypha, 2nd Ezra, chapter 8 and verse 1. Read that.
This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 8, and verse 1.
Go ahead.
And he answered me, saying, the Most High have made this world for many.
The Lord made this, the Most High made this world for many. So at this point, man, you seldom see people barren. Everybody is fruitful. You want a baby? 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 All you got to do is lay down, and you're going to get your baby. Most High is seldom using the people in this world. Man, I know this be some hard, rough stuff I'm talking. People want to kill me. Like, man, you talking all S-H-I-T. You this and that. You talking about me. I'm talking about 2nd Ezra, chapter 8, verse 1. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And the facts remain the same. You can go to every other house and every house, and ain't nobody burned. They not burned up in there. They fruitful. They having children after children after children after children. The Lord he allow it at this point. The floodgate is open. And you know what? We are given over to our ruin. Okay, go ahead.
But the world to come for few.
But the world to come for few. All right, so let's go back. Please ask us 4. In the Sirach, in the Apocrypha, please ask us chapter 4. In verse 19.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 4, 19. Then will she return the straight way unto him.
Let's see. No, 4:19.
4:19.
Ecclesiasticus 4:19.
Ecclesiasticus 4:19. But if he go wrong, she will forsake him.
If you go wrong, you'll be forsook. So the Most High is straight telling you what you should do. Yeah, telling you. Happy Sabbath, Dottie. The Lord is telling you what you should do. If you go wrong, you're going to get forsook. Straight up. Over and over and over is the Most High speaking unto you. You're going to be forsook. Because you're going to keep on hammering it. Yeah, this is how I want it to be. I want it to go this way, that way, and this way, and that way. Don't you know that your ways and the Lord's ways is two different ways? He said, my way is not your way. So you got a bunch of us walking around pretending that we don't understand. You don't understand the Lord's way is what you don't understand. Why I can't be it this way? Why I can't be that way? Why I can't have it my way? Yeah. It's wickedness. Let me spit it out instead of stuttering and stumbling on it. It's wickedness. Wickedness. Okay? Wickedness. You're not, he said barren because he been trying. A lot of people be like that, trying and trying, and the most I was like, no, I ain't ready for that. Just don't have, depend. You want a baby because you figure I just want a baby because you want to play with it. People be like that. Oh, I'm bored. I want a baby. You see somebody else and then you're like, oh, it's a baby fever. I got baby fever now. You ain't even ready for that. Poor parents. A trend, a fad. It's gonna come and it's gonna go with you, man. And who gonna be neglected? You know the thing that you lusted long after you wanted, and then you abused it. Then you're gonna abuse it, kick it to the side like you did the shoes, the coat, the clothes, car. People get cars and then all of a sudden they don't even take care of it no more. Get a lot of stuff that you want. Now you don't take care of it no more. People do children the same way, man. Have a baby and then they just stop taking care of the baby. The baby cry. Oh, I didn't know you was gonna be like this. You a crybaby. Who wants a crybaby? You see people smacking the baby, spanking the baby, tossing the baby across the room on the bed, abusing the baby, all kind of stuff. But it wasn't like that when they was doing the dookie, getting the baby. It wasn't like that when they first got that bouncing baby girl or bouncing baby boy. They was in love with that baby. But when that baby started doing what babies do, try to communicate by way of crying or throwing a tantrum by way of, I want some attention from you. You said you wanted me. Pick me up. Don't leave me. Take me with you. Hold me all the time. Give me all the attention that you said that you wanted. Like, wait a second. I need a break. That's why I don't give people no breaks. No, I'm not keeping your children. Never have, never will. You don't need no break. You got to experience all of that. You brought it into the world. You keep it. I didn't send mine off. I sat at home as a man. I sat at home as a man and watched mine. And I'm not boasting and bragging about it. I'm just speaking from experience. I had to do that when I had to do it and didn't complain about it. And when I hit the streets, I took them with me. If it was a place I couldn't go, then that means they can't go. Of course, a lot of things they'll forget, but don't let me start busting out how I took them here and I took you here, there, this, that, there. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. So no, you can't be hardened against your little ones. So a lot of people, man, that's Rock 4, Ecclesiastes 4 and 19. If you go wrong, the Most High will give you over to the ruin. It don't feel like a ruin though. It's a baby. That's what it is. It's a baby. And you learn later on. I always ask, when are you going to read what? So I made a post. Very few people. I know you see it. Whatever I post, you see it. Don't worry about it. You don't have to like it. I'm inspiring you one way or another. I'm here for one reason and one purpose only. That's to teach. From the time I get up to the time I go to sleep. From the day I was born, I was learning. Now that I repented, now I'm finna give back out what all that experience, good and bad, the Most High God and showed me. And you know what? Now it's finna be for somebody good. I hope you pay attention to it. Talked to somebody on the phone the other day. He was complaining in my ear. I say, man, listen, when are you gonna reap? But when are you gonna reap what you sow? I say, you never expect to get for nothing bad to happen to you, huh? That's when I thought about. I said, you go to the store and you buy some seeds, and on the package just say bullshit. You go home and plant it. What are you gonna reap? What are you gonna reap? He laughed. He laughed. I said, well, that's what you got. Nobody ever expects to be paid back. You just ignored. You gonna ignore God, huh? You ignored him when you was doing it. Now you try to ignore him when it's his payback time. Well, he ain't gonna let you ignore it. He gonna let you feel it. And this is a reminder of what was it? You went wrong. That's right. You went wrong. Read the next part.
And give him over to his own ruin.
Now you in ruins. Now you in ruins. So a brother, sister in that type of situation, what you supposed to do? You're supposed to acknowledge the Most High is God and bow the knee of your heart. Just like Manasseh did. If that brother went into idolatry, I hate to even speak of the things because it's brokenhearted. That man was a good dude, man. But some of the stuff that he did, he went astray. He got deceived, man, served lust and allowed idols to be set up. Manasseh, man, he was a good dude, but he went off. And he got put into captivity. And all the stuff that happened bad to him because he really humbled himself and saw his fault and was broke and was like, man, I was wrong. The Most High forgave him and brought him out of their captivity. That's what you're supposed to do. Not, I'm going to make a way in the ruins. Then you're going to live in ruins. Okay? So, the Lord in 2nd Ezra 8, the Most High did. He said, the Most High have made this world for many. That's why you see there's so many people. But the world will come for few, man. All right, so let's lose all of this. Go back to Genesis. There is one that I want to, before we move on. Go to Luke, the 1st chapter. Okay. Luke 1. And find me about Zacharias.
Where he's righteous. Where he got speech taken because he found.
No, he was older.
Or about the baby and the Holy Spirit.
I already said no.
6 and 7. You're shaking age.
Yeah. Yep. That's it there. 6 and 7. 1. Start at 5.
This is Luke chapter 1 and verse 5. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias, of the course of Abiah, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. And they were both righteous before God, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord blameless.
So look at these people. They were commandment keepers. Okay, his daughter, his wife was of the daughter of Aaron. Okay, go ahead.
And they had no child.
And they had no child. So you can say that she was barren as well. Go ahead.
Because that Elizabeth was barren.
Mm-hmm.
And they both were now well stricken in years.
So they wasn't young. That's the point right there. That's what I wanted to show you. This thing of us being in haste and you having this in your mind, you're going to warp your mind, man. Straight up. I'm in a rush. You're in a rush to simulate what the Gentiles is doing on television, lying to you, man, misleading you. That's a sinful bed, man. Be patient and grow. You understand? I had to tell my daughter, I say, live life. I want to see you live life. Don't just be in a rush to be married. That'll rock your world to the core. That'll destroy you. The person that I know she is, that'll incorporate it into her life. That'll make her a totally different being. See, this world is so brute, it forces you to be that type of way when you don't want to be, and you be wishing that you can reverse the hands of time. I wish I can reverse it and go back and be a child, but you can't. Once you experience certain things and once you get out there, you out there. Straight up, you out there. So now I've got young adults that God has put me over in. Now I'm trying to tell you, you might not be in your father's house, but you still don't have to jump out there and shock your world to where you're responsible for this type of thing here. It's honorable, but let the Most High put it together. This is what God put together. You ain't got to go searching for it. A lot of you run around in secret sins. You run around in secret sins trying to cover it up, you don't got to worry about pleasing me. Don't. Just listen to what the Spirit be using me as a person, as a brother, as an example to say to you, and give a real good earnest heed and be like, what if I listen? What if I do it? What is going to be the outcome? Weigh it in the balance and weigh it against your strongest desires. Because everybody in that situation, I'm telling you, trying to jump off that damn ship. They want out. They be like, man, I want out of this. They want out of this because it's so strict, it's so abusive, it's so abrasive. And that's because it's like it's like childish, even though we are adults. Young adults are still childish, even though they are adults. They have not fully matured to the point to where they seasoned enough to be patient with you, to be long-suffering with you, to be honest with you, to be courteous with you, to be respectful to you. The only thing that you got out of the deal was some flesh. And that runs out. But once you get in there, then you get stuck. And then this covenant, which is an ever-binding covenant, be like, you got to go in there. You got to take that. And you're like, man, why do I got to take that? Because the word of the Most High cannot be voided. And you were warned. So what do? We tell you to live life in all the other aspects. How to do that? Stop focusing on marriage, the opposite sex. You understand? Get certain things to get your life together. Get grounded spiritually. Get grounded mentally. You understand? There's offices to fulfill in Christ, following the Most High. There's work to be done. Are you doing that so that you can present yourself to somebody ready? And that that's gonna come. That ain't an overnight thing right there. All the issues and problems that that you have, those are things that go away through fasting and praying and learning and teaching and fellowshipping and stuff like that. That ain't something that just go away because you had a good time with the congregation. you know, they don't just go away like that. So you got to be, you got to be careful as you go through the greats of the scriptures. You're going to see the most perfect examples in the scriptures. And those are ones that you follow. It says, be followers of them who through faith inherit the promises, not followers of bad examples. Yeah, you can find somebody in here who did this and who did that. And then you can find something, you can find a law and say, oh, well, I ain't broke the law. No, you ain't broke the law yet. But once you do get into this situation, you're going to break plenty of laws because you don't know how to dwell in this situation. You're not living in this situation according to the Spirit of the Most High and according to the example of the Christ. You're just going to be living according to the flesh. Okay? So I just wanted to bring this in. So this is Luke 1 and 6. They were both righteous before the Father, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord blameless. So they wasn't unequally yoked. So that's something that you gotta take note, okay? Don't be going after somebody that's a work in progress. Oh, this person is they say they're gonna do it. They're about just as good as one of these scams that be coming through the inbox. Yeah, hey brother, you want to make $1,500? Send me 40, and you get a grand prize. Shit. you send them 40, they dump all your money. Are you like, how'd you do that? So, no, don't be falling for the I can do it guy. He's trying to get your skirt. Tie the knot, unloose the knot that's on the side. Sisters used to wear the skirts that wrap around the side and tie it up on the side. That's how they clothed themselves. Cover themselves up. He's trying to get the knot out. You like, oh, you can do it? You will do it? You believe? Yeah, I believe. Oh, yeah? Then he hit you with the shalom. Oh, no, he didn't. Wait, listen, let me tell you about this brother I was helping out of state. So this brother I was helping out of state, he he was telling me about this girl. He said, I don't want to be with her, but she keeps on coming at me, so on and so forth. I don't know what to do. I said, well, she's not a believer. Leave it alone. He led me to believe that he was grounded and he was strong. And so she even friend requested me. So, okay, well, yeah, she friend requested me. I accepted friend request. Everything about her was carnal. She did hair every day of the week. So she was a beautician. She did hair every day of the week. And so she did certain things trying to get him. Okay? So what made her so interested in him? Because he wasn't a rich fellow. Do you know what the precious thing about him was? The scriptures say the adulterers will hunt the precious soul. The thing that was good about him was that his his sexual activity was low. So he wasn't just going around sleeping around. That is a high drive and turn on to the world of sexuality. Oh, you're not, you're not having sex. They want to hit you. They want you. Okay. So while you think that somebody is loving you and they so deaf on you and they gonna do you right and they so crazy about you, they only interested because you ain't been tapped. Man or woman, I'm just using that universal that you ain't been had. So they're gonna bring out all the perks. So she knew this about this guy. So I think she began to this is when he saw the trick, right? He calls me. He said, "Man, do you know what she said to me? She called me and said, Shalom." I say, "Oh no, she hit you with the Shalom." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh man." He said, "I know it's a trick now." He said, "I know it's a trip now." I said, "Okay." Yeah, she tried to get the claws in him. Yeah, Shalom. That's what she said. She was up to no good. She was trying, boy. She was trying to break that wall down. He said, "You gonna give me that thing?" Shalom, boy. Yeah, she tried to get him, but he didn't go for it. You know, he didn't go for it, and she wasn't sincere. He just kept on, proving, making a stipulation. You got to really repent. He set the standard like, she's got to repent. And she wasn't a bad looking girl. She was a young looker. So the average person would have been like, wow, they'd have whistled at her. But he was like, no, I ain't going for that. And he didn't. He stood his ground and he saw her spirits and stuff like that. He's like, man, I'm not dealing with that girl. And sooner or later she just backed off and she went on down the road somewhere. So a lot of you got to be careful with stuff like that. All right. So that was Luke 1:6, how they were both righteous. Okay. And they both was walking in all the commandments, not some, not some. Okay. Your brothers like to bring some woman around and explain how she doing some. Then you gonna bring her back for some counsel to give her the rest. Now you should leave her alone. It's like trying to slaughter and eat a lamb 2 days old. This thing is immature, man. You don't do that. It's not ready for that. All the commandments and ordinance of the Lord. And not only were they walking in those things, right? But what type of disposition did they have? They was blameless in that, meaning nobody could find fault with them in their lives when they point at each other or when others point at each other in that thing. For those of us that are married, we do point the finger at each other. Those of you that are unmarried, you have a choice to be patient for this to happen. You have a choice. If you go in a situation to where this person is not righteous and they walking in some of the commandments and not all of them, and some of the ordinances and not all of them, and you can blame them, that's your fault then. You are a foolish man, you are a foolish woman. And you're going to get everything that the Most High's got coming for you. He going to break you. That's what he going to do. You going to get ruined. This person is going to ruin you. And the thing is you get a life sentence. And I'm about to move on, but you get a life sentence messing with these people. BABIES. Because you keep on coming back for more, trying to make it right. Babies. That's right. The first one gonna come, and then you still be trying to make love. I'm gonna make this person love me. I'm gonna make this person love me. And then next thing you know, then you got baby number 2, and they still ain't blameless. They still ain't walking in all the commandments. When you take upon a marriage, that's your whole priority at that point. Nothing else. Nothing else. You don't even worry about the church. Don't even worry about nobody else's house. Don't even worry about nobody else. Nothing. From the time you get up to the time you go to sleep, marriage. How can I get on the same page? That's right. They that are married, their mind is like a woman. How can I please the husband? That's where your mind is going to be at. Your mind ain't going to be after, because you have an opportunity right now. If you ain't doing that now, shit, you ain't, I don't want to say you ain't never going to do it, but I don't see it happening. If you ain't after the Most High in Christ right now, Yahweh Shai now, the husband going to keep you busy. Keep you busy. He got errands that need to be run, bills that need to be paid, calls to be made, clothes to be washed, food to be this, that to be clean, this and that. You got to call him. You got this, you got that. Where you going to find time at if you ain't doing that now? You didn't even gather it from your youth up. How you going to find it in your age? That's the scriptures. Don't kill the messenger. So the only thing I'm doing is telling you to do it right. Get it now. And if that's instilled in you, you already have a process. Somebody already know that's the job. They already know that this is the job. That's what I was doing already. A teacher of women, advice, counsel, instruction. This, that, and the third. What are you doing differently? That person is going to be an admiration for what you're doing. They're going to understand what you're doing. They see your work in this truth. There's women works to be doing. But if you ain't doing nothing now, how all of a sudden you're going to add more to a plate, and then all of a sudden, are you the what is it? Delusional? Oh, it's just going to happen. I'm going to be on fire. You souping yourself up. You ain't souping me up. I'm going to be on fire. I'm going to be teaching women. I'm going to be counseling. Everything you do and say going to be wrong, man. Giving people the wrong advice. You ain't going to have time. Because when he say, let's go, it's time to go. Your whole, everything about you going to be different. Oh, yes. One of them said, yes, when it's time to go, it's time to go. If I woke up out of here, my family got to leave with me. What, they going to be rebellious? I'm going to be like, y'all rebellious. Then start coming out scriptures. I know the scriptures will be like, you're supposed to follow me. You stubborn, you rebellious. You're supposed to come with me. What are you talking about? Well, I've got to do. No, you got to come with me. So they had no child, verse 7, because Elizabeth was barren. Who made her like that? The Most High. And they both were now well stricken in age. They was over age. They was past that age once again. So don't be worried. Don't be talking about me preaching. This is the same preaching. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow, it's gonna be the same, man. Stop looking at TV. The people that when we turn our channels on, the internet, the cable, what is that? Netflix. Direct TV, Spectrum, and all these cable channels, those are the worst people in the world that the Most High God made. And they set an example for us. Ezekiel 7:24. Ezekiel 7:23 and 4.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 7 and verse
21.
21. I will give into it the hands of the strangers.
I will give it into the hands of the strangers for a prey. Meaning, I will give you, Israel, and your land and everything about you into the hands of the strangers. Go ahead.
And to the wicked of the earth for a spoil.
And they are the wicked of the earth. So we turning on, we looking at that stuff, the wicked of the earth. You know, last night after dinner, I'm sitting down with Carlise and Prasad and Ham is just boasting on how they rich and glamorous they were. And it was making me sick to my stomach. And I was hungry. I'm sitting there eating short ribs. I'm eating good, short ribs, but I'm getting sick to my stomach because of they gloating, they boasting. I can't think of the name of the show. Carlos, you remember the name of the show? Besides one of y'all?
Rich people. Young, rich, and
Yeah. What she say?
young, rich, and happy.
Young, yeah. Listen, young, rich, and African. So the first thing so-called Negroes be like, oh, that's us, that's us, that's us. I looked at them. They didn't say that though, but they was wondering like why I'm always stopping. You know, if anybody know me personally and how things go at home, you know, my people, my family, they got my family, they got a problem with me stopping the movie. That I can't watch TV with you because you have to explain everything in this, that, the third. So I get wrapped up. But they were all made up, just like they do here in America. They had fancy houses, fancy cars. So I'm sitting there looking at them both. I'm like, y'all, you know that they ain't no better than the so-called white man. I said, they are the ones. So the name of the show again is Young, Rich, and African. I say they are the ones that sold us into captivity. I say they look just like us, don't they? Because you might just think they, African, you know. I said, okay, I'm gonna prove it to you. So I stopped. Now they young, so they looking like y'all. They about y'all age, right? 30s, 20s, late 20s, 30s. I said, okay, I'm gonna prove it to you. So I find the clip on YouTube where the guy from Africa is apologizing for selling us. He said, I'd like to apologize, offer apology for those in the Caribbean islands and the diaspora. I said, that's it. And then he turned around and said, and the Atlantic slave trade. Boom. There it is right there. So they looked, and the Kasai said, yeah, I saw it before. I said, okay. So I let him finish. And then he got all emotional. It was a bad time for us, and this and that, and we got tricked. This nigga, he said it, and we got tricked. And they offered us. They had guns, so it was nothing that we can do. And so he's telling the African history. They had guns, and it's nothing that we could do, nothing we could have did, and they tricked us. They offered us liquor and wine and stuff. I said, okay, now let me go to Joel, the third chapter. So I said, this lines up right with the scriptures. Then we go right back to the show, finished watching a little bit of the show. I said, that's no kids. Of course, the adults that was standing out there, you know, they my age and older, and so they not dressed up with hair and makeup and gold and this, that. They not worried about that. They passed the looking, you know, trying to look good stage and glamorous for one another. They just, now they in a moral mind. You understand? So I said, that's the generation, that's their parents, and these are the children riding around in Lamborghinis, Mercedes, Tesla, all those fancy cars, jewelry, drinking, Moet, and this, that, and the third over in Ghana. So this is the children of these people right here. In the same generation, in the same lifetime. Okay? So, where was we at, man? Ezekiel 7:21, and to the wicked of the earth for a spoil, and to pollute it. So now we're polluted. According to the scriptures, we're polluted. The way that we do things, we have been polluted. Because when you open up, like, you know, the saying is the eyes is the window to the soul. When you open your eyes up and you see all of this stuff, you say, oh, this is what I want. And you start going after it. And when you do that, you walk away from the authority of your parents. When you walk away from the authority of your parents, you in big trouble then. Okay. What's that precept?
Proverbs 20, 26.
Sure.
Yeah, I know it's not 20.
Not you. Yeah.
20 and 20. Yep, 20 and 20.
Proverbs 20 and 20.
This is Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 20.
Wait a second. Let him get it. Because as you begin to bring children into the world, I want to teach you to hold on to them a whole lot stronger than you held on to your parents. And while you are in this world, while you're in this society now, and now, according to Timothy, the Most High say he made the elders your fathers and mothers now. Now you need to hold on to us a lot harder and stronger than you was, and not do the opposite, not do what you did when you walked off from your biological parents. Okay, so Proverbs 20 and 20, go ahead.
Proverbs 20 and 20. Whoso curseth his father or his mother, his lamp shall be put out in obscure darkness.
Now, so let's get some understanding today. What is it? What is it to curse? Right, to wish bad. It's not going into all. I'm using profanity. When you stop listening and you stop caring, and you sometimes, you know, people will wish and hope bad upon their parents. You know what the scriptures say? To show lack of disrespect, all that is going into the same curse. It says his lamp. Now I want you to imagine yourself in obscure darkness. You are already in a bad place. The darkness is that you're in a bad place. And you got this little lamp, and you really trying to see. You trying to see, and you trying to make a way, and you trying to make sure that you don't make no mistakes. Now all of a sudden you hear this sound. Be quiet and listen. You know what the Most High did? He just blew your lamp out. And now you in pitch blackness. At that point, you don't know which direction to go in. You don't know if you're going to walk off a cliff. You don't know what's going to happen. The Lord said, your light, your lamp going to be put out in obscure darkness, man. That's not what you need. In other words, when you need God the most, he's not going to be there for you as a help because of the cursing of your parents. So you got to be careful with that. So now you might think that, well, I don't curse my parents. You come into this truth, the Most High have given you parents now to deal with. Okay? And giving you those parents now, if you deal with us like that, I'm going to tell you something. The Most High going to see that. And you're going to be in trouble. When you need him the most, he going to put your lamp out. To many, this is just a Bible, or I choose to do it if I want to do it. But to the elect, this is your life right here. You're supposed to live and die by this, man. Okay, go ahead.
Right, Deuteronomy 27. And verse 16. So this is to show what also kind of helps show what that cursing is, so that it's not necessarily saying you're going off on your parents. So it's Deuteronomy 27 and verse 16. It says, "Cursed be he that setteth light by his father or his mother." So that setting light is the same as saying you take light what they're saying.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I don't have to listen, or what you saying, I don't have to hold with some type of value. So the Most High, even before Solomon's time, he said you're gonna be cursed if you don't listen to your father or your mother. And then Israel turned around and all the people should say amen. So all Israel agreed. So to not listen to your parents, the Most High said you'll be cursed. And there's also the cursing that is talking about in Proverbs 20. So.
Right. So are we really saying this? He cursed be he that said light. So if you don't take to heart what we're telling you, because we're telling you what God said, the Most High said. You want to call him Yahweh? You want to call him the Lord God? You want to call him the Most High? You want to call him the Creator, Supreme Being? You want to play games with labels and titles? Whenever you finish, you better not take light what we telling you. And you're going to need to do it. Because if you find yourself leaning upon your own understanding, you're going to end up ruined. And you're going to see, when you really need it the most, you ain't going to have no lamp, no light to see. It's going to be put out. You're going to find it not there, man. And all the people agreed. That's the last part of that. Now go to the book of Timothy. First Timothy chapter 5. And verse 1.
This is 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 1. "Rebuke not an elder, but entreat him as a father."
So rebuke, show sharp disapproval, nor revile, but show much respect. But entreat him as a father, meaning accept him like you would a father. Okay, verse 2.
"The elder women as mothers."
The elder women now as mothers. So these people are not in Israel, these people are not to be taken lightly. This is for your own safety with the Most High. Ecclesiastes 32. In verse 12.
Ecclesiastes chapter 32 and 12. There take thy pastime, and do what thou wilt, but sin not by proud speech.
Right. There, take thy pastime. The definition of pastime is something that a person constantly always do. It's like something that they do regular. So do what you do. When you finish, it says, and do what thou wilt. But don't sin by proud speech. So because the elders and the mothers, elder mothers in the church are not your biological, you can't turn them on and off like, oh, well, I'm going to respect you today, but not tomorrow. And I'm going to sin with you by proud speech. You can't do that. The Most High is going to get you. That's why a lot of times we find ourselves in trouble with the Lord. You be reaping bad benefits and you don't even be wondering, like, why did this happen to me? Why am I going through this and why am I going through that? Because of some of the stuff that you did with the people that he had put in your life. Coming up, I've never did this. I took the blunt. I took the load. When I was guilty, if I was ever rebuked and corrected, I took it. Nobody has a reason to lie to me and tell me something wrong. When I was taught. It's like, this is the deal. Okay, the scriptures come out, that's it. I didn't get a chance to resist. There is no resistance. So remember in regard, so let's go back to Genesis. No, we was at Ezekiel 7. We've been polluted. That was the last of 21. Now verse 22.
Ezekiel 7 and 22. My face will I turn also from them.
So the Most High did that. He turned his face from us. Go ahead.
And they shall pollute my secret place, for the robbers shall enter into it and defile it. Make a chain, for the land is full of bloody crime.
Right. So making a chain, that's us coming back together. So when we come back together, the ones that robbed us and that polluted us, are we supposed to be tempted by the stuff that they doing? No. The wiles of the Gentiles? No. Their schemes and capers? No. What about our lusts and appetites? The answer is no. All right. So we're supposed to come together, and that's what we're doing. But when we coming together, we got to have that sincere spirit. We got to understand that let me make an honest effort. Let me go ahead and sacrifice. Let me go ahead and do it. When we all go home and go our separate ways, we really supposed to be doing the correct and doing the right thing so that when we're coming together, when we're making this chain, that we are a strong link in the chain. And so that the Spirit of the Most High, would then be us. Because the Most High knows, man, when we're right and when we're not. We're not supposed to have secret sins, sins that we're doing that nobody knows. We're not supposed to be like that. Okay? And it says the reason why to make this change because of all the wicked sins. That's what the bloody crime is. Wicked sins. Sins that bring forth death. So if we're doing the same thing, how are we different than the ones that the Most High say come together so that you can fight against these things? Then you're no different. It has to be different. The Lord said he have no need for a sinful man. Like you don't have need for a sinful woman. What's so hard about following the instructions? What's so hard about following the counsel? Does other people make it hard? Okay. I believe sometimes other people do make it hard. You shouldn't say something? Oh, all right. Sometimes, people do make it hard. But you got to learn not to be seduced by people trying to make it hard. So it says, and the city is full of what? Violence. This is the same violence that we know about. It ain't no different violence, man. It's the same violence. We got to be without blemish. You know what the Christ said, what was it Paul said in Ephesians 5, how Christ sacrificed, how he went out the way to make us without blemish, spot, or wrinkle, that he might present us to himself. So that's the sacrifice that we got to make to present ourselves back unto him, to the Most High through him, to avoid the violence, the crime, and to make this change strong. If you're going to pull a car, tow your car, or you're going to secure something, would you want it secure with a weak link? No, man. You want a strong link. Something that's tempered. In order for anything to be tempered, it's going to have to go through the test of fire. And that's how we are. And that's why sometimes we go through the certain things that we go through. We be wanting to go through fire that don't provoke us. Fire that don't challenge us. Something that we can always pass an easy level. Right? But that's not the case. So because of this, read the next. Here's the point.
Verse 24. Wherefore I bring the worst of the heathen.
So the Lord said, because of this, he brings the worst of the heathen. So the ones that got us, they're the worst of all the heathens. Yeah, they are the worst. There's nothing good about them. Okay? So let's go back. Genesis chapter 25, and they finna be born. This is the birth of the worst of these heathen. We'll get to it eventually. So he had entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. The Lord was entreated of him, meaning accepted it, and she conceived. So verse 21, you know the precept, if we ask anything according to his will, he heareth us. Right. It's a prime example of that right there. Do brothers and sisters pray and your prayers get answered? Things like that help increase the faith. right? When it happened, do you ever share those results and kind of uplift one another and talk about it with somebody else and say, hey, man, I prayed, this happened, right? Right. That's good. You should do that. That'll help somebody else keep the faith. All right. Verse 22. So now she's pregnant. Go ahead.
And the children struggled together within her.
Right. So that's sometimes, like women have issues with pregnancy. Sometimes the baby be very active. That's what that is. So these children was active within her. And she was having problems, very, very hard times. Go ahead.
And she said, if it be so, why am I thus?
Right. If it's supposed to be, why am I thus? What is that telling us? Just look, check this out. Sometimes you could be pregnant and going through hard times, and you can be wondering, like, man, just like she said, why am I pregnant? Why, if it's supposed to be, like, why are you allowing it? Why am I pregnant? You're going through the pains. It's hurtful. Most women be afraid that they're going to lose the child. They're going to miscarry. And in your mind, you might be thinking that it's not supposed to be. So those of you that haven't experienced this, when you go through this, some people pregnancies go smooth without incident. Others, you go through a struggle. That doesn't mean that it's not supposed to happen. You're just going through that for whatever purpose the Most High see for. Hers is going to be one reason. So she went to inquire of the Lord. Okay. So it doesn't mean that it's a bad pregnancy, and you're afraid that you're going to lose the baby. They call it bed rest. Some women, they scare you and they don't leave the bed. I'm on bed rest, she said. She don't leave the bed. She don't leave the house. She's trying to be fragile. She don't want nothing to happen. And follow those orders, I guess. But I'm just saying, in general, if it's supposed to be, it's gonna be. Okay. And if it's not supposed to be, it's not gonna be. Just like that. The Most High will allow. So the sisters in here that has had children in here, have you had any, struggles within like that, belly aches and tossing and turning in the stomach before? Raise your hand. One. Okay. I probably would Tam, wouldn't it? I know. Tam bad, man. Nah, I'm just talking, man. She gonna be like, what? Yeah, let's see, it was to be. So still maybe. There she is now. Okay, so verse 23.
And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
Hold on. Okay, start over, verse 23.
This is Genesis 25 and 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
Right, so 2 nations. All right, so they were in there fighting, struggling, tossing. I shared. Did anybody see the post in the group that I shared? I didn't share it in our group. I shared it on the page. Is everybody in here? First and foremost, have y'all gotten to the page, the General Assembly visual of the page? No. If you haven't, go to the page and become a member of the page. Okay. But so on the page, there was some guy and he shared, I don't know how he did it, but all up into a year, different photos of, and starting from an embryo, maybe from like a couple weeks all the way up until it was born. You can see the shape of it, the hands of it. It's all in the sack and the whole 9 yards. It's funny how it looks on the inside. So it's, I think he said the eyes and stuff, be open in there and everything. So, so 2 of them was in there, and they were messing around with each other in there. So they had to know that they were in there. And the scriptures say, call it 2 nations. All right. 2 nations are in thy womb. This is what the Lord told her. And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So 2 different manner of people. The problem with us is that we're trying to be like them instead of them trying to be like us. We are trying to be like them, and that's bad. So let's go to what's that, Maccabees? You know what I want? Second Maccabees 4. Second Maccabees 4 and 15. Second Maccabees 4 and start at verse 13.
This is Second Maccabees 4 and 13.
And by this is going to show that a lot of the stuff that we're doing is unlawful. Go ahead.
Now, such was the height of Greek fashion.
Height of Greek fashion. You know what height is? Something that's lifted up. Okay, so this is going into sports. All right, so you are into sports, you are in sin, believe it or not. Go ahead.
An increase of the heathenish manner.
Increase of heathen manner, not an Israelite manner. Okay, and what did the scripture say in Genesis 25? 2 manner of people. So one people is going to have one manner, and the other is going to have another manner. So you have assimilated yourself to be one manner. That ain't what the Bible said. One manner of people. All this manner. Oh, you looking too far into that. How? You in sin. Okay. Increase in heathenist manner. Go ahead.
Through the exceeding profaneness of Jason.
The word profane is there. Sin. Go ahead.
That ungodly wretch.
What does ungodly mean? Ungod. It is not God, it's ungod. Undo that. You see? That's sin. Go ahead.
And no high priest.
So following this guy, he was ungodly, he was profane, he wasn't even a high priest. Read.
That the priest had no courage to serve any more at the altar.
That means the stuff that he brought in, the priest didn't even want to teach the Bible no more. They didn't even want to deal with the scriptures and the laws no more. They wanted to do what they were doing, the Greek customs. Like today, you go out there and ask them coaches if they want to come and sit here and learn so that they can get this, and then they can start doing this all over the city instead of coaching little teams. They're like, man, nah, you crazy. I'm gonna get me a little team, man. We're gonna take them to the bowl. They don't want to serve. The same thing. Basketball, baseball. If you know somebody that coaches football, baseball, basketball, tell them about the truth and see if they'll forsake it. Yeah, they ain't gonna do that. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do this. They want to do that. Go ahead.
But despising the temple.
And hated the temple. So they hated the school. So this ain't that temple that Solomon built, but this thing that was taught, what that Solomon built, that was taught in there, we're teaching it out of here. Guess what? They will hate this school. Say, I ain't going there. Go ahead.
And neglecting the sacrifices. Hasten to be partakers.
Stop. Hate, neglecting the sacrifice. What did the sacrifices, I'll just tell you. People will come sacrificing for their sins. So that would be just like you coming, having a problem. You say, Shem, I got a problem. Can you talk to me and help me in the scriptures so that I can understand? I'm going to neglect you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to help you. I'm going to neglect you. See, now how would that be? That's what they was doing. Now, these people were bringing animal sacrifices for sins. They were feeling guilty. They were remorseful. Lord, I'm sorry. Their heart was probably broken. They trying to get back into the spirit. They wanted forgiveness. And the priest would neglect them, not even do it. So after they got neglected, which way do you think the people turned? Please say to sin. They turned to sin. Because the priest didn't help them. They went right back to the sin day. Go ahead.
Hasten to be partakers.
Carried after that to be what? A partaker. Go ahead.
Of the unlawful.
The sin. Been saying it the whole time. Unlawful. Go ahead.
Allowance. In the place of exercise. After the game of discus called them forth.
Discus, that's track and field. Shot put, the 100-meter run, the 400-meter run. Games. Coliseum, baseball, football, basketball, hockey. Now they got the ice sports, skiing, pole vault, javelin. Yeah, all of that. Mm-hmm. Sin, unlawful participating in these things is a sin. That's not an Israelite manner or custom. That's a Greek fashion. These Romans, these Edomites that built the Colosseum over in Rome, the ones that live up, that you live amongst now, that you work with, they the same people, man. And our people, we yabba dabba do. I'm going to the Judge game. I'm going to this game. I'm going to that. Ignoring this. Some people don't know, but there's some people that do know. Don't you go. If you learn this, don't you go. Because the Most High is not happy with that. Some years ago, they used to bomb those stadiums. People used to bomb those stadiums, terrorists. The Israelites, when they get mad, if you hear that, it's too late. It's too late. Hey, and to prove it to you that they used to bomb them, what's the movie? And they used to make movies about the bombs being set at the football game at the stadium. What's the one with Damon Wayans?
The Last Scout.
The Last Scout. That was The Last Scout. Which one? He used to work at Blockbuster. So VCR stuff. Right. But do y'all remember that movie? The Last Boy Scout? They were trying to blow up the stadium one day. Israelites used to blow the stadiums up, man. They hated Esau so much. So you used to get, man, you didn't know if you was gonna go to a game and get blew up or not. All right. So verse 15.
Not setting by the honors of their fathers.
So this is the point. Not setting by what? The honors of our fathers. Okay. The manner of our fathers, according to Genesis 25. Go ahead.
But liking the glory of the Grecians best of all.
But liking the glory of Esau best of all. You see? Go ahead.
by reason whereof sore calamity came upon them.
Why do we get hurt? Why does sore calamity fall on us? Because we like the glory of the Grecians, the glory of Esau, the glory of the so-called white man. And you'll say, oh, that's hate, that's hate. How? I'm just preaching the Bible. I'm just reading the scriptures. So far, it's been open and not closed. And everything that I've been said has been in the same book. If you want to know what book it is, read the cover. It's a King James Version. It's the same one you brought here. And some people all the time, we be out there on the streets and they be like, what book is that? You got a secret book, brother. This is not a secret book. You got a secret book. No, it's not a secret book. This is the same book that you got at home, man. I'm just showing you how to look at it. We're reading it. All right. Well, I ain't know about that. That's because you trusted them. They took it out. Now I got one with it in. That's why I encourage brothers, buy one with it in there so that you can show them. See, it's in here. Why my Bible ain't got that one in there? You got to go get you one. And when they see it in there, they say, oh, okay. Or you can show it to them online. If you don't have a Bible with the Apocrypha in it, download it. The app is the KJV8, and that means King James Version Apocrypha. And it's going to have all those books in there, the ones that the Protestant church took out. Okay, so because we like their glory, which is witchcraft, and a different manner more than what the Most High raised up on, that's why we get twisted ankles, back spasms, pulled hamstrings, all kind of stuff, man. Broken collarbones, playing these sports. Eye popped out the socket, concussions, all broken fingers and arms, all kind of stuff. Man, we get jacked up doing this stuff with these heathens. Sore calamities. All right, go ahead.
For they had them to be their enemies.
At one point, they was enemies to us because the Most High God told us to do one thing, or they did things against us, and we knew that, and we said, oh, those people are not right. Go ahead.
And
avengers. Meaning we always wanted our revenge against them. Why? Right down today, don't nobody want revenge. Nobody wants revenge. You just crouch right now. It's over. You love them. You give your sons to their daughters to your sons, and you lust after the horse women and men on TV. The men lust after the horse women on TV, what you want to do to them. And the women lust after the demons on TV, regardless of how brutal they are, because you're like, I'm going to spend this money. That's the only thing you be thinking. I'm going to spend this money. I want some money. I want the SUV. I want that big house. You want the pool in the back. You don't care if your life if he is going to kill you or let somebody kill you. Just our people, man, you can't be like that for money. I'm tired of being broke, says the so-called black woman. Don't be like that. All over some money. The Most High gonna give you infinite wealth in the resurrection. We go through this from time to time. I show you this stuff in the scriptures. Okay? Go ahead.
Whose custom they followed so earnestly.
You follow their custom so earnestly, man. You like be trying to look just like them, this, that, and the third. Riddle me this. If your hair, as Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, so-called, not so-called, but if your hair came out of if the hair came out of your head woolly, why are you walking around with it straight? You're gonna hide the wool and put a wig on. Why? Where'd you get that from?
What if we as men, that was one of the things that we were talking about last night, me and the fam, we were watching TV, and it just began to just boil me. I was like, I can't take it no more. I couldn't. Everything, and why we as men, and I'm not talking about no particular person, period. It's only what's right. Sisters, women of the world, they take everything artificial and just revamp themselves. They just, and it's all artificial. Why do you do that? And why do we as men accept that? Could we do that as a man? Could you put on a fake head, a fake toupee? So now you got a fake hairstyle. We're gonna change it up. One day is short, one day is long, one day is blue, one day is red. You're gonna take that. A fake beard, one day is short, one day is long. Now, we might be all jacked up. We got jacked up skin. We're gonna cover it up. We're gonna cover it up. Okay, what if we little pudgy and around the waist? We pudge around the waist, right? So now we gotta suck that up, get a waist train. We're gonna suck that up and pull that tight. And then we're gonna put a suit on up under it and get some arms and chest, right? And the whole male race is doing that. Y'all gonna go for that as women? We are the biggest dum-dums. We are some. Why do we do that as men? Why do we do that? And women, they don't want to be caught out on it. Why do you cut your eyebrows off and draw them back on? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? Why do we accept that as men? And that's fashion. We ought to say no. Before truth, I didn't accept that. If you saw me before truth, and if you ever saw somebody that I dated or whatever, you would have just saw a plain old simple homegirl. You would have just saw. I just couldn't ever get with that. Why do we accept that? Where did we get that fashion from? We get that, and don't I don't want to. I'm not going off on sisters as we was, and I know it seems like it, but I'm not. But I asked a legitimate question. The hair that's come out of your head is natural. It's like wool. You discard it and you completely just go another way. The people that you see on TV have straight, stringy hair, permanent like that. And women will never go back. You don't go to the king, to the wool shape. You are unique and beautiful, each and every last one of you. And don't never let nobody tell you nothing different. Stop looking into the mirror, not into the, well, I go there. Stop looking into the mirror and being disgusted at yourself and lowering your self-esteem. And then you go look at TV and you see somebody, they bony as heck, and they blind in the head, and they this and they that, and you say, that's what I want to be like, or I'm ugly. Remember that psychological thing, that goes a long way. Remember the child?
Mm-hmm.
If it affect the child, don't you think it'll affect adults? The little experiment with the child, and she didn't like the little baby dolls. Right. All of y'all sisters in here are really, really beautiful. back in the day, and I'm gonna tell you something else that it kind of burned me. I was leaving the gym the other day, had to drive past a little in the parking lot. Had to drive past a beauty salon. Saw some Israelite models. They hair wasn't natural. They all had wigs and makeup on. The same people that hate us, Moab. So I was reading the scriptures that Most High said He gonna get Moab too. All they gonna get, but Moab too gonna get it. They don't. They hate us, but yet they sell us all that plastic hair. And as a woman, y'all spend y'all money with them. And y'all making them rich with that. You really is. You're making them rich with it. Let me tell you something. Back in the 80s, some of y'all was just being born. Some of you might not been born yet. Okay. But they used to call the women chicken heads. Now, I know it seems funny now, but now that I think about it, I wish we can go back to it. And I'm gonna tell you why. Their hair was short. They was beautiful people. The people were beautiful. We grew up in the time era to where we didn't walk around with everybody with their head up there, with their nose stuck up in the air, with a cell phone in their face. It was a different time frame. It was a different time era. It's so close that I could talk about it. I lived in it, and I can tell y'all about it. The women, they had short hair. Y'all didn't like the short hair. There was nothing you can do about it. The answer of weave hadn't came out yet. People was wearing wigs. Mothers was wearing wigs, but the youngins, the children, young girls, they wasn't doing that. They were wearing braids. Excuse me. What started breaking the hair off was perms. Perms. Then they start making that money. They called it the creamy crack. People love that. They love that perm, boy. It would make their hair straight. And maybe it was, I don't know if it was the men's fault, because I don't think men cared or talked about it. It's just that when you watch television, the vision showed you straight hair that was manageable and that they can comb it a certain way. And that's what our women want. And they still ain't shook that yet. Well, what do you think it's going to be like in the kingdom? In the kingdom, you ain't going to have no Moabites to sell you no hair. So what you going to do? You're going to take what you got and you're going to braid it. Or you going to twist it. So I walk around and sometimes I ask sisters, when I see you, I might say, you gonna twist your hair? Nah, I ain't gonna twist my hair. All right, leave it alone. Like, y'all offend you. I'm sorry. You don't twist your hair? Because I know, and you want your hair to grow, cherish it and nourish it, and do it right, it'll grow. Twist it. Braid it, it'll grow. It's gonna take time. But a lot of them, they don't have that spirit of patience. So they want some instant gratification. They want to go in the front door and come out the back door with it touching their back. And then when they take it out, they're gonna take a couple more inches out with it too, of the natural hair. Your natural hair will grow if you stop suffocating it with synthetics or the so-called human hair. They call it human hair. And that's a story to that too, where they say that was sacrifice to the gods of India. You know, it's some reason behind it all. I don't know. I don't get into it. You know, the point is that let's stop honestly following the customs of these people. Okay. Now your hair. Now there are some people that don't have coarse hair or woolly hair and long hair or whatever, and that's how it is. Okay, I'm not gonna say that you sinning. Maybe the result of what's happening is gonna correct you and tell you that you're doing something wrong. When your hair keeps breaking out and it won't grow, and you spend 20 years doing the same old thing to it, and it ain't went nowhere. Maybe that is correcting you. See, somebody said tail hair, horse tail hair, goat tail hair, whatever. I don't know if it's coming from goats and horses and stuff like that, but this is not to. I'm feeling my people, so love y'all. Don't be down on y'all emotions. Just stop the artificial stuff. And this is all of us as a nation. You know, we stop that. And men, I'm sure, I'm telling you, they'll pull that stuff off you. You'll be mad. And they'll pull your toupee off. You'll be like, quit playing. Right, you know, she didn't show your Wally up there. Yeah, the ball spot that she didn't show that. You be mad, boy. Like, you play too much. Came right, slid right off.
They actually glue it on now.
They gluing it on now?
Yeah. Sewing it in. Yep. Beards and hair.
So, all right. So back to Genesis 25, right? So we was at Genesis chapter 25, and we went through all that in 23, where it says two manner of people. So it shows you that we definitely supposed to be different from the other people. But we have now assimilated and tried to be just like them. Okay, it says, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people. So one person or one nation or one people is stronger than the other people. Well, that shows you, I believe, and everybody believes that Jacob is stronger than Esau because he dominates in everything he does. The only thing that we don't have is the control that the Most High took away from us. But in everything that we do, we're dominant. Okay? We're dominant. The stuff that we invented, all our creations, all our mind state, all our brilliance, all our smarts, everything. They're the ones that make you think. And then you have to be aware of that too. When you go to work and you're working with them, they try and discourage you into making you think that you ain't nothing and that you can't do this and you can't do that. They try and suppress your mentality. Don't let that happen. The scriptures tell you that what type of people are you? Right, you're strong, you're peculiar, you're great people. So don't let them try and play reverse psychology, mess with your mind, and tell you that you are nothing. Don't do that, because you will leave wounded. You'll be questioning yourself. And they do things on purpose, like not teach you. If you find yourself and you at work and you're in a struggling situation, They're not teaching you. They'll be not teaching you on purpose because they want to see you struggle. They want to see you suffer. Don't be discouraged. What do you do in a situation like that? Don't complain. Send up prayers. Shut up. Don't go to them whining and crying. Oh, please, Mr. White Man, teach me. No. Open your eyes and open your ears and see how it's being done. Yeah, because if you let them know that you're watching them. I was just reading that precept, man, about them waiting for you to fall. If you let them know that you are watching, they're gonna change it up on you. You don't let them know that you're watching them. You're supposed to be watching and paying attention from the get-go. That's why when you go to work, don't go to work tired. I'm tired because I stayed up. No. Because I stayed up. You looking for some place where you can just creep off for like 5 minutes, take you a little quick nap. And what they did was really important. It's gone and done now. Oh no. I told you what type of person I am. I'm lawfully stealing everything. I'm talking about your talent, your gift. Do it in front of me and you will see. All you got to do is do it in front of me. You're going to see. It's a lot I can do. I tell you what, one time, and this is speaking boldly, I definitely would need the spirit, but if I've sat in the front in a plane, cockpit and everything, and I saw this guy doing this, now of course I would need to understand all the little buttons and this, that, and the third. So maybe I need more than once because I'm trying to be realistic. But if I sat up there, I'd be able to fly that plane. I'm sitting there watching them do it. How you can't repeat what you just saw? You got to be able to repeat what you saw. So don't let them do that to you. You are by nature a stronger people. And they already don't want to teach you. Okay, so Genesis 25 and 23. Let's finish that.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger.
Right, the elder shall serve the younger. And we're going to see who the elder is. Go ahead.
Verse 24, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment.
All right, so the twins, the first one came out. So he's the eldest. He was red. Red meaning like you see a Caucasian European baby. That's how he looked. He came out and he had hair all over. Go ahead.
And they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out. And his hand took hold on Esau's heel.
So why didn't they describe him?
Because he looked like everyone else.
Right, because he looked like everybody else. So there was no need to give him a description. Oh yeah, he was kind of brown skinned. You know what I'm saying? There was no need. Kind of brown skin. Everybody is brown skin. So this guy here, this person is the only nation on the planet Earth that's non-melanated. Everybody else has melanin in their skin or browned people. Okay. And his name is Esau. That's how we know who the so-called, because he is not white, he is red. And the scripture's going to tell you that. Go ahead.
And his name was called Jacob.
So the second guy, his name is called Jacob. Okay. So you're going to learn later on that Jacob's name was changed to Israel. Go ahead.
And Isaac was 80 years old.
So 1 score is 20. So he was how old?
60.
Right. 3 score, 20, 40, 60. 20, 40, 60. So what are we doing? See, y'all gonna be thinking I'm coming for you. This guy was 60 years old when she bare them. So it ain't too late for you. Whoa, Kim Sabi. Is there anybody thinking that time is getting away from them? Yes, y'all is. Yes, you is. Anybody think time getting away from them? Look at that one over there. Anybody else? I ain't babysitting.
He said, I ain't babysitting.
Yes, it's 60. So who thinks 60 is old? Too old.
To have this age or
Too old to have a baby. 60. 60 is too old to have a baby. Okay, so stop. So how many people in here been 60? So wait a second. So this is what you're dealing with. You speaking on something that you ain't never even experienced before. You're speaking on stuff that you ain't never even experienced before. How many people think 60 is too old to have a baby? Me? How many people been 60? So you technically you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know what 60 feels like. Let me show you something. Go to the book of Proverbs. It's Proverbs 3. Okay, Proverbs 3 and verse 8, verse 7,
Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 7.
the second part.
Fear the Lord and depart from evil.
Fear the Lord and depart from evil. Okay, so you're 60 years old. How old are you?
60.
60, go ahead.
It shall be health to thy neighbor.
It shall be what?
Health.
So at 60 years old, let's use Yariel. How old are you, Yariel?
25.
So at 60, how do you think the person at 60 feels? Let's just give him 25. So now is 60 too old? The answer would be no. Because how does he feel?
25.
He should feel like in his youth. Because he or she has the health of the Lord. So I don't know why we would think that 60 is too old. It's something that you in your youth never experienced before. So technically you can't talk. God's will, someday I'll see that if that's his will. And shit, I don't think I'm bent all over. And I ain't far. And I'll give a bunch of y'all a run for your money. So hey, it's a mind thing. Your mind is trying to deceive you, people. Your mind is trying to deceive you, man. Don't let that mind get you in trouble. The Most High is trying to mature you, trying to grow you. He's trying to do something with you. He's trying to do what he sent you here to do first. Okay. So was that it? It should be health to their moral, to their neighbor, and moral to their bones. Yeah. So you're gonna be fearing the Most High, that makes you healthy right there. Departing from evil, that makes you strong right there. Strong and healthy right there. And that's the reason why Abraham and Sarah in their old age was able to do what they did. Now, if they had been full of judgments of the Most High, they wouldn't have been able to do that. Same thing like Elizabeth and Zacharias. Remember, they had walked in all the commandments of the Most High righteously and perfectly and was blameless. They were able to do that. Now, if you're going to be wicked, see, y'all probably used to somebody 60 years old looking like they 90. Or you can just push them over into the grave. Like, damn, man, you finna die. You all right? How old is you? You think it's supposed to be like, you're like, is that how it's gonna be? Like, wow, life is over. Yes, good precept. Psalms 92. Hezekiah. Psalms 92. Psalms 92 and 12. Start there.
The book of Psalms, chapter 92 and verse 12. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age.
All right, go ahead.
They shall be fat and flourishing.
Go ahead.
To show that the Lord is upright, he is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him.
Right. So, remember, those that be planted in the house of the Most High. People that are not planted in the house of the Most High, you see them full of judgments. You see them in a decayed state. They not capable of doing anything, man. They don't even look like they can handle that. They don't look like they can take that. They can stand that. They are ready. They can handle that or whatever. Most of the time, people, they be strung out on drugs, addicted to alcohol. I ask, what would the communities be like if we wasn't under the spell of drugs and strong drink? And if drinking was according to the law and nobody did compel, what would things be like? You'd see a different state. But because people are snorting and shooting and smoking and all kind of stuff, it's all bad, man. So let's not hasten above our maker. Okay, so let's go back to Genesis 25.
This is Genesis 25 and 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field.
So it gives you a description of Esau, the first guy, the father of the Edomites. He was a hunter, he was a cunning hunter, a man in the field. Just like that now, a lot of people try to say that the Arabs are the Edomites. No. Do they look like, are they always advertising themselves as being hunters?
No.
Oh, no. You know who was the hunter of the earth is? Man, what's that guy's name? He's like the ultimate hunter. They make that show about him or something. We always look at him. Brian, what's that guy's name?
I see his face, I think.
Right, you can't think of it? I can't think of it either, man. This guy, he's a good hunter. He be hunting and fishing and all kind of stuff, man. He go out there for weeks. Alaska, all kind of places. And watching his show really gave me some insight, man, on how in depth they are. They'll track a certain animal for miles, man. Just looking for him. That's how these people are. They hunt us like that too. During the time of slavery, they was hunting us from city to city. All right. So we know who this guy is right here. He's a cunning hunter. Read the next part.
A man of the field. And Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents.
You know who that is? Jacob, Israel, a plain guy, nothing particular about him. You ask him, wonder what a man of color, where he gonna be? What he's gonna say? I'll be at the crib. Yes. And whenever you want to find him, just swing by his house. He'll be at the crib. He gonna have to come home sooner or later. Right. So these scriptures right here is dead on. Okay, they are dead on. All right. Verse 28.
And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob.
Right. So Isaac obviously had an issue with Jacob. I don't want to call him lazy, but Esau was one that was extroverted. He would go out, get the hunt, kill it, bring it back, string it up. Remember, this man is evaluating his sons. Now, who Jacob turned out to be later on, that we know him to be a man, was one thing. But who he is in his father's house is somebody totally different from the beginning. So he evolved, right? And that's some of the things that, we're trying to tell you young men. Just get the ground under your feet. Don't just jump out there because that's what you think, that's what's left to accomplish. That's not the greatest accomplishment in the world. That's an achievement, but that's not the greatest. And then when you do, you want to do it respectfully. You want to be honored with it, and so on and so forth. You owe that to yourself, and you owe that to the woman. Don't you think so? I believe so. You owe that to set an example and not to bring forth shame and dishonor. You owe that to her parents. Don't let your parents, sisters, get shortchanged. because of your own thirst. Even they not in this truth. Are they not in the truth? They don't count. That ain't so. Your actions may teach them to repent. So that's what he liked about Isaac. I mean, that's what he liked about Esau. That Esau would go out and catch that animal and bring it back. And Rebecca loved Jacob. So in order for Rebecca to love Jacob, Jacob had to be listening, respectful. All right. So and Jacob saw pottage, and Esau came in from the field, and he was faint. Esau said unto Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that that same red pottage. Go and start it from there.
For I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him. And he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils. And he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright.
Right. So in other words, Esau, he wasn't fond of his parents like he was supposed to be. That's first and foremost. Because who it is that is giving him the birthright? Yes, the Most High, but remember, it's got to come from his parents, right? Exactly. So how you gonna despise something that your father gonna give to you? That means you despise who? You despise your father. Not only that, he despised the Most High, because remember who's teaching him. Isaac is teaching him the same way Abraham taught him. All right. So with that being said, why is he asking for that same red pottage? That's unlawful according to the scriptures. Deuteronomy chapter 12. Or Leviticus 17. Go to Leviticus 17. Now, this was given to Israel way after that, but I'll get it for you. That was given to them in ancient times before that, to show you that they were keeping the same thing. So Leviticus chapter 17 and verse 11. Read that.
This is Leviticus chapter 17 and verse 11. For the life of the flesh is in the blood.
For the life of the flesh is in the blood. Now, this is not the one that I want. Jump down to 14.
Verse 14. For it is the life of all flesh. The blood of it is the life thereof. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, ye shall eat the blood of no manner of flesh. For the life of all flesh is in the blood. Whosoever eateth it shall be cut off.
Right. So if your meat is red and it's got blood in it, you can't eat that. Like you see them take a steak and sear it on both sides, and it's pink in there. That's the blood. You can't eat that. Okay, now go to Genesis chapter 9 and verse 4.
This is the book of Genesis chapter 9.
Start 3.
And verse 3. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you. Even as the green herb have I given you all things.
Right. So every moving thing based upon things that he would say would be clean. Not every moving thing. Because there were clean animals and there were unclean animals. All right. Go ahead.
Verse 4. But the flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat.
Right. Read that apart again. I'm sorry.
Genesis 9:4. But the flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, ye shall not eat.
Right. Now go to Genesis 7 and verse 1.
Genesis chapter 7 and verse 1.
And this is to help us understand about the everything that you should eat. Everything that moves. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take thee by the sevens, the male and his female.
Right. So 7 clean males and 7 clean females. Go ahead.
And the beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female.
Exactly. Okay. So when you jump back over to 2 chapters later, now go back to Genesis 9. And 3 again.
Genesis 9:3. Of every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you. Even as the green herb have I given you all things. But the flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall you not eat.
Right. Now go to Leviticus 11. Now he's going to be specific. Leviticus chapter 11 and verse, here's an example, 7.
Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 7. And the swine, though he divide the hoof, and be cloven footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you.
He is unclean. So it's very specific. Okay. That swine, that's a pig. Jump up to verse 6.
Verse 6. And the
The
hare,
hare is a rabbit. Yet you see people go rabbit hunting. Go ahead.
because he cheweth the cud,
Meaning he chews the grass. Go ahead.
but divided not the hoof.
Right. He doesn't have a hoof, nor is he cloven footed. He has a paw and claws. Go ahead.
He is unclean to you.
He is unclean. Jump down to verse 8.
Verse 8. Of their flesh shall ye not eat.
Boom. Of their flesh ye shall not eat. So the unclean animals in Genesis, what's that, 7, and then Genesis 9, you are not supposed to eat. And so when it said Genesis 9, everything, it said, oh, I've given you everything that moveth to eat. He's talking about of the 7 things, animals that were clean. Once they bred, they will be breeding amongst each other, and they became of a certain age, maybe a year and older, then they were able to, they were fair game for you to eat, as long as they were on the clean side, based upon which ones the Most High told him was clean and which not. But when you read this Leviticus, this is the Most High explaining to us what he explained to him. Back then in Genesis, he didn't break down the names of them, but he's giving it now through breakdown to the children of Israel, because we are going to need this now in the latter days to know what the clean animals are and what the unclean animals are. So if you are eating the pig, pork, that is unclean. Okay. Another one we can get, verse 9.
Verse 9. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters, in the seas and in the rivers, them shall ye eat.
Right. So if the fish has fins and scales, the fins is the things on his side that he swim with. The scales are the small little circles that cover his body. If he has a smooth skin like a dolphin, he is unclean to you. All right. If he has a smooth skin on his body like a catfish, he is unclean to you. Or if he is in a shell like a lobster or a shrimp or a clam or a scallop, those things are unclean to you. They are poisonous. They might taste sweet in the beginning, but they are going to mess with your bloodstream and your neurological function up in the brain. They're going to mess with you according to the scriptures. It's unclean to you. If it wasn't so, the Most High wouldn't say so. Okay, go ahead.
And all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, and of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you.
They shall be an abomination unto you. What's an abomination? Something that's detestable, something that you're supposed to abhor and reject. They shall be even an abomination unto you. You shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcasses in abomination. That means when you see their dead body, like if you see a what is that, a jumbo shrimp there, you're not supposed to be like oh that's good, it'll be a good one right there. No, that's a dead carcass. That's a dead like sea roach. You're supposed to be like, oh that's horrible, that's terrible right there. Let me squish that. Are you supposed to? Yeah, you're supposed to throw that into the trash. You're not supposed to even have it. They're not supposed to sell that stuff in the store. Whatsoever have no fins nor scales. They don't have any fins or scales. It has a shell. A shrimp don't have any fins. Oh, got one back one. Oh, that's a tail. That's his tail. He don't have no fins or scales. His whole body is in a shell. That shall be an abomination unto you. Okay? So let's lose that. So that's what Esau was out. He didn't care. He ate the meat with the blood in it. So he wasn't right. And right now today, he's the only one that eats that stuff with the blood in it. It shows you who he is. And the Most High has given him over to a ruin, to the point to where you know who this guy is, because what does he do? He do stuff like create blood drinking movies. He called himself a vampire. I am Blackula. I will straight drink your blood. He said he ain't gonna wait for no pottage. He gonna drink your blood straight up. And yet people will not call this guy who he is. He is the Edomite that the Bible calls him. You ain't never seen you ain't never seen a Chinese Dracula, Arab Dracula drinking blood. Nobody drinks and likes blood but this guy Esau right here in the Bible. This is him. This is him. Yeah, they do something else with the blood too, man. They have a blood something. What else? How they eat the blood? They do something else with the blood, right? Where they eat it.
Medium rare.
No, we aren't past that. Blood something. Blood pie or something.
They do rituals with it.
They drink it, but it's a blood pie that they eat or something.
They put it in their food, like the baby blood. They put it in their food as a recipe.
Blood pudding. But this is him. Right. So, and listen, if you got the Precept Bible, everybody with a Precept Bible, when you read the 30th verse, therefore was his name called, when it says Edom, the Precept says red. His name was called Red. But why is he calling himself white? which is blasphemy. He's calling himself white is because he is trying to perpetrate the fraud of that he's an angel, but he's not. Go to Revelations 19. That's something that we supposed to be called. Are y'all or the white people? All right. Revelations 19 and verse 7.
This is Revelations chapter 19 and verse 7. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife have made herself ready.
Right. So that's the reuniting with the nation of Israel and the Messiah. We have made ourselves ready because we have repented. So this is a future tense. This is a future vision that he saw. Well, we repented, and now we're ready to be rejoined up under the power and authority of the Christ. All right. The leadership of Christ. All right. Go ahead.
And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen.
Right. And to the nation, to the bride. So he looks at us, and the Most High looks at Israel like a bride that he's going to reunite with a husband. Okay. So unto her was granted that she should be what? Put in fine linen. Go ahead.
Clean and white.
Clean and white. So that's what that white represents. So they're walking around wanting you to call them the white man. They love that. They're not white. They're red. And dirty red too. So, go ahead.
For fine linen.
For white. Listen to it. Listen to the scriptures, man. For white. Go ahead.
Is the righteousness of saints.
Tell me we're not reading the Bible. It's the righteousness of the saints. So in all actuality, who should they be saying, oh, these are white people? The saints of the Most High. Because of your righteousness, us. Not some lawless people who are the worst of all the heathen that the Most High created. They're going to say that, oh, we're white, we're clean. No, we're not. All right. Go back to Genesis. So we'll skip 26 and 27. And start at 28.
This is Genesis chapter 28 and verse 1. And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said unto him, thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padanaram, to the house of Bethuel, thy mother's father.
Stop. You know, when we read this, do we think that the daughters of Canaan was like buck tooth and bow-legged. No, the daughters of Canaan look like the daughters of Israel. Let's see something.
The book of Psalms, chapter 18, verse 21 to 23.
So I be more happiness with this maybe.
Let me see if I can see it. Did I stop it? I stopped all of it.
More money.
This is country, Johannesburg. The richest land in Africa. Not one person here is weak.
So the daughters of Canaan.
They're African with spots. To be young African females. That's the most beautiful feeling. I don't know what you do to men. Men never get away.
That is the Ugandan stuff.
You gotta give me some of that shit. They call me the OG. I'm just the one in general. I know myself. I'm not doing it. You will know about me. Good. Let's see what the vibes are.
I always come out on top. And that makes me a boss lady.
Being rich and famous is not easy.
You messed up.
Diamond has kids with this woman. He said, I want to jump your bones now.
It's always looking good.
How could you break the ankle if you don't touch your friend's face? Keep your hands off her titties.
Whoa!
This is 0 to 100 real quick.
So, did it look like they swatting flies? Huh.
That's the typical of young, rich, and African.
I ain't gonna tell you what show it is either. So don't listen though. So the whole time, listen, the whole time while y'all thinking that, remember these are men with money. And so he's trying to make sure that they go in the right direction. He's trying to make sure that they don't choose unwisely. So the choices that they got to choose from, we got to keep it in perspective. And I just showed you a look in our time. Now, at any day, how many brothers will walk down the street and you see a woman like the woman that you just saw and think that that's an Israelite? Think that's an Israelite? You walk down the street today and you see this woman and you say, oh, okay, that's an Israelite. But then when she tell you where she's from, you got to put the brakes on. You're like, oh, okay. No, you. Remember we was on camp one day, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm telling this woman, no, you a heathen, you get back, right? And one brother was like, you are an Israelite. I'm like, bro, what the heck? What is you saying? Right? I'm like, listen, I'm like, who is your,
I'm like, I don't know if my man was lusting or something, but I'm like, I'm like, what is your father? She had already said Persian. So I'm like, okay, you a heathen, then this is not for you. And then, and I think she just must have told him, well, I'm an Indian or something. And so that's what the Persians say. So you got to be mindful of the lingo. So when they say that they are Indian, you got to know that that's what they talking about. You understand? And so she was like, it was like, you are an Israelite. Like, no, the hell you are not. You better get on down the street with that stuff here. So these heathens, if you're not careful, they will be hard to resist. You let them, you ain't got nothing to shine here. All right, you'll get no glimmer. So Isaac charged him, do not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. You just saw the daughters of Canaan. That's them. So they ain't scum buckets. They know how to be some showstoppers too. Why do you think Israel didn't go in and kill them? All right. They didn't listen, man. They felt sorry. You're not supposed to feel sorry. That was our downfall. The Most High, because we didn't do that, we lost it all. If we had to listen to everything the Most High said to do, look at where we'll be at. When we first started this series, look at the coast. The whole continent of Africa. The whole continent of Africa. All up and down the Nile River, all around the Euphrates, all Asia. We'd have had all of that. You must don't know how that stuff look, man. That's amazing. Through disobedience, we lost it when all we had to do is go in and do what the Most High say to do. Every time you don't do what the Lord say, you don't even understand how you alter your future. You alter it tremendously. Do what the Lord say to do and not what you want to do. Even though it pains you, do what he say. As soon as you start giving resistance and fighting back, alter. Your future is going to be altered, man. So, okay. So, what is this? Genesis 28 and now verse 2, right?
Arise, go to Padanaram, to the house of Bethuel, thy mother's father.
Your mother's father. So think about what he's saying. Your mother's father, which would be what to him? His grandfather. Go ahead.
And take thee a wife from thence, of the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brother.
So Laban, his mother's brother, will still stand with his father. All right. And who will have daughters there. Look at the family still stand together. Who will have daughters there. So look who getting it right. They was. Go ahead.
And God Almighty bless thee.
And the Most High will bless you for doing that. Don't look at honey. Oh, look at baby right there. No, baby right there ain't for you. Oh, but I love her. That's the stuff we be on. Oh, but I love her. You let somebody talk you into loving them. What is wrong with us? Don't you know that if you talk, you could talk to the devil long enough, he gonna persuade you, man. Yeah. I saw a show where people was talking to each other, never seeing each other, and fell in love.
That is complete madness. And I understood why when you be talking to somebody in your mind, you won't let them go. You like, grab the mic. Shut it off. You be like, oh, I love you. This is them. You, oh, I love them. You communicating with them. You won't let them go. I'm like, put that down. You're like, no, I love them. I can't let them go. But can't talk you to let it go. You're not. Because you've been communicating so much and so long that your mind have persuaded yourself to do that, to feel like that. Never even seeing them. Without a show of hands, how many people are guilty of that? Without a show of hands, how many people are guilty of that? Falling for somebody you never met. Not me. Just through conversation. You get so wrapped up in them. He couldn't do that. Jacob couldn't do that. Isaac is telling Jacob what to do. Be instructed. Be advised. Your life is supposed to be guided. What's wrong with us is that we're not taught nothing until we get to the truth. Then we might be already late. Yes, sir. And so, Judah, I'm glad you said that. So Judah said, what's wrong with us is that we're not taught nothing until we get to this truth, and then it might be already late. So the answer to that is pay attention. That is correct. Now you have experience and you're supposed to become teachers. You're going to know the both sides. And now you need to be able to teach the ones that ain't experienced that. No, you don't want to go out there because it's a dead mission out there. It's sharks out there. They going to bite a hole in your back. They going to abuse you. They going to misuse you. They're going to rape you. They rape you. They're going to rob you. They're going to trick you. They're going to lie to you. They're going to defile you. They're going to say everything they're going to want to say. They're going to give you a child and run off. They're going to give you a venereal disease. They're going to put their hands on you. They're going to do everything. They're going to break your heart. They're going to, with the experience that you get coming out the street, when you come up in here and you time to come to serve the Lord, you're supposed to leave all of that behind and now learn the correct way on how to do things and now do the correct thing. And know that for one, you didn't go unpunished. You're supposed to relate your shortcomings and the punishments that came behind the stuff that you did with the correction of the scripture. You're supposed to be like, this is why that happened. That's why somebody on here like, dang, that's why I messed up my knee. I kept getting my ankle sprains. The Most High was trying to tell me something. Yeah, you're supposed to be able to relate the stuff that's happening to you with the scriptures. And you're supposed to be trying to stop the youth that's coming up that trying to get out there. Because, yeah, they trying to get out there. That's how you show the Most High that I straight up understand, Lord. I'm here doing the work. I straight understand. I'm trying to help you not get out there. So, like, I've been to a point to where I'm trying to help you. No, don't go there. That's a dead mission right there. If you go to the point to where I've been, you fail. Because I failed. Why would I want to see you backtrack and go to points in life where I went in the world? That wasn't a success story. Those are life sentences and judgments that I got to bear on a cross for the rest of my life that I'm afflicted by. So I don't want to see that for you, but you ain't listening. So being young ministers and followers and teachers in Yahushua, I'm trying to not cramp your style or put rain on your parade, but I'm trying to warn you like, yo, nah, you don't want no piece of that. You got to get to a point to where you realize whatever you done should be suffice, meaning should be enough. Man, this is enough. Okay, I ain't gonna go beyond that, because if you go a little bit too, you ever put too much pressure on something and broke it, and you say, I should have stopped maybe a turn before this, or I should have bent it this much, or I shouldn't have did this much, or I should have stopped her, or I put this much heat and I burnt it. I did this, and you wish that you had to stop just one moment before. You at that point now. You are at that point. You don't have no more opportunity to apply no more pressure. You are about to break it, burn it up, snap it, or fall to pieces, make it fall to pieces. That's where you at. So, Genesis 28. Yes.
1 Corinthians 10. So to kind of add to what's being said, this is what Paul taught to the Israelites. And we'll start at verse 5. So 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 5 says, but with many of them, so of course Paul is talking to the Corinthians about the Israelites in the wilderness, right? But now in our time, in our generation, where are we walking? We're walking in the wilderness too, right? So now let's make this apply to us, and let's look at it to where how we can benefit from it. So verse 5, it says, but with many of them, who would be the them now in our time? No. Our teachers. With many, so look at it like this, but with many of our teachers, because the teachers is telling you what not to do. Telling you don't do what I did. Don't make the mistake that I made. So with many of the teachers, what? God was not well pleased. For they were what? Overthrown in the wilderness. In their lifetime, when they did the things that they did, that y'all, we lusted after, they got overthrown by them. It says, now these teachers were our what? Examples to the intent. So when the Most High said he allowed these things to happen, it was a purpose behind it. It wasn't because he wanted them to be wicked, he destined for them to be wicked. It had an intent that they would get to us, go through what they go through, fight like hell to get out of it, and barely make it. But for us, that we should not lust after evil things, as they also lusted. Now when you jump down, we're going to skip 7 and verse 8, and we're going to jump down to 9. So now, the teachers, they went through those things and was destroyed. Now we're going to put it on us. Neither let who? Us. That's being taught not to do it, tempt Christ. Because what did Judah say? We didn't learn those. Now we learn those things after the truth. And now we subject to all the destruction that came with it. But what about y'all that ain't committed those things? You being told not to do it. If you go forth, now what are you doing? You tempting Christ. Christ, the Most High, didn't put, his intent wasn't for you to go through that. His intent was for the teachers to go through it to tell you what not to do. It says, neither let us tempt Christ as some of them. Who's the them again? The teachers tempted. And were what? Destroyed. They got destroyed. So the teachers, when they say, listen, you don't want what I've been through, you got to see that and not be like, well, that was you. This is not. It's the same. I always think about it with the new age drug dealers. We see the documentaries of Tookie Williams and all of them, right? And all them brothers spent a lifetime in jail or got murdered. And now the new age drug dealers, they say what? Well, I'm what? Smarter than him. I ain't gonna get caught like he got caught. You gonna get caught by Christ. It says, neither murmur ye. Don't be like, well, that was him, or I got a better scheme. As some of them also murmured, because the teachers that was before you was taught not to do it too, right? So they murmured and still what? Got destroyed. It says, now all these things happen unto them for examples, and they are written for what? Our admonition, correction, upon whom the ends of the world are come. Wherefore let him that think he stand. Who's that talking about? It's talking about us. I got it. I understand it. I'm stronger than them. I'm smarter than that man. He fell because that woman was this or that. I got a better game. I got a better rap. So we gotta look at these scriptures, and I know Paul is talking to the Corinthians, but you gotta put it on us because they still apply to us. So we can't, now he that thinking he's standing, do what? Take heed. Why? You gonna fall. But the problem is you gonna fall worse. Because your teachers went through that to tell you. The Most High sent them to tell you what not to do. And what are the scriptures in Corinthians, I think 7 says, or 8, it says, great was the fall of them. When that house fall, because it mentioned the house. When you fall and your house fall, it says, great was the fall of it. So don't walk around like, okay, that was them. I don't have to listen to them. We read earlier about the elders being what? Fathers. And he that make it light of what? The father's gonna be cursed. So all of that apply when you being taught by the teachers that the Most High put in your life, and they telling you, I made that mistake. That is the Most High telling you, don't repeat that. It ain't saying you got a better chance than I did. It ain't saying study what I did wrong and then you perfect my sin. You make my sin better, or you find a scheme to get around the judgment. Now you got to listen because you're going to fall. And when you think about it, you actually tempted Christ. You ain't getting over on the teacher or because they can't see it. Yahushua sitting on the same throne at right next to the Most High. And the same way that the Most High is looking down in the earth, who's sitting there looking too? And who's been given authority to actually move on it. So is it really worth it? Don't think you stand because you're going to actually fall. Right, yeah. So he quoted Romans 15 and 4 about whatsoever things are written aforetime was for our learning. So, I just wanted to bring it out because we gotta listen to the things when the examples come out of our teachers and our elders telling us, don't do this. You can't just make light of it because you're gonna fall like they did. So.
Okay, so where do we stop at?
Genesis 28. Read in verse 3, verse 23.
So he sends. Jacob didn't have a choice. Jacob didn't have a choice. Didn't say that. I'm sure that he did see different females, but he didn't move on that. He respected the very same thing that the water was just saying. He respected his father. The scriptures say he had the fear of his father Isaac in him. So this is, and because these people move like this, they're gonna sit in the kingdom because of that. All right, brothers and sisters that want to sit in the kingdom of the Most High, apply the scriptures, man. Apply the scriptures. Sacrifice your time that you have in this life to do the right thing. And if you do, all right, you will see the kingdom. So Genesis 28, and we was at 3, you say?
Yes. And God Almighty bless thee, and make thee fruitful, and multiply thee, that thou mayest be a multitude of people.
So what would happen if he would have, because a lot of times people be thinking that their fate is in their own hands. So what would have happened if he would have said, well, I'm just gonna go and get this woman from Canaan anyway? Do you know a lot of us, we have problems directing our children because our children are hard-headed, because the world is so strong with them in their lives that they follow the world through the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes, that they don't follow the instruction of the parents. So now just think of, remember I said everything that you do, it alters the future. So if he would have took the daughter of Canaan anyway, then he could, the Most High couldn't have used him. What would have happened? So he would have just took the daughter of Canaan and still went to Laban's house? Because that's what people think. Oh, he would have still just made it on the way around. That's your thinking. No, that's your thinking. What happened the first time that with his grandfather? Most High had to cast the woman and the child out. So no, they ain't gonna inherit with Isaac. Get rid of them. Nobody never told Abraham not to deal with Hagar. It was tolerated. It was accepted. So you understand, it was accepted. This situation right here was told not to deal with the daughters of Canaan. And that because the Most High was going to bless him and make him fruitful and multiply him. Oh, I don't want that. That's bitter. We tell you, you're going to be blessed if you do this, you do that. You're like, I don't want the blessing. You don't want to follow the footsteps of your parents. Who bewitched you that you should not obey the gospel? You ain't supposed to be like that. You don't want to obey your parents, or you don't want to obey the teachings of what we're telling you so that you could be blessed. The Most High has got a plan for you. God has got a plan for you. He's planning your life out right now. Each and every last one of us. He's planning our life out. So in the latter days of your life that you can be set up and you can be happy. He's bringing in the generations, the people to be. He's bringing all of these things in. But it's contingency upon you following instructions, man. And if you don't follow the instructions, then you alter that path. You derail the whole plan for you. And you don't know. Your plan could be a special, unique plan that's going to do something significant. I don't think Jacob understood how big this would be, what his pops was telling him at that time. No. He didn't know when he went to his uncle's house, the stuff he would have to go through. And then all the sons he would have and the labor and the wealth that he would come out there with and how great. He didn't understand all of this. He didn't know that we're all of his children now. And we'd be sitting here talking about that. He didn't know that. Look at us now here. You think he knew that? He didn't know any of that. So you don't know either. All you got to do is do what we're telling you to do, that the Most High said, thus said for you to do. You got to do that. And then if it's his will, you're going to find out how great it was and importance it was for you to listen. All right. So, and give thee the blessing of Abraham to thee and to thy seed with thee, that thou mayest inherit the land wherein thou art a stranger, which God gave unto Abraham. And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Padanaram unto Laban the son of Bethuel, the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's and Esau's mother. When Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padanaram to take him a wife from thence, and that he had blessed him, he gave him a choice, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. And that Jacob obeyed his father and mother and his mother, and was gone to Padanaram. Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac his father, then went Esau unto Ishmael, and took unto the wives which he had Bahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebajoth, to be his wife. Verse 10, start there.
And Jacob went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran, and he lighted upon a certain place, and tarried there all night, because the sun was set. And he took of the stones of that place, and put them for his pillows, and lay down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it, and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee in all places whither thou goest, and will bring thee again into this land. For I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken to thee of. And Jacob awaked out of his sleep, and he said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I knew it not.
Right. And that's because of the vision that he had. You know, like us, what if I told you that the Lord occupies this, he has the ability to occupy the same existence space where you at now. This space, in the physical realm, it's got tables and chairs and seats and people walking around. But in the spirit, like, you can't see them. So, but in the spirit, the Most High has the ability to use the same space for something else, and then prevent them from coming to you, or prevent you from distracting them by closing their eyes to you and closing your eyes to them, thus being in the same space, occupying at the same time. But in this vision, the Most High was able to show Jacob that the place that he had laid down, he set the pillars in. Remember, the ones that was going up and down the ladder, they were right there in that same space. They didn't, I'll be like, oh, okay, excuse me, man. I ain't want to wake you up. No, they was just doing whatever it is that they were doing, not even minding or paying attention to him, or didn't even know that he was there. They was just doing that. They was just doing whatever it is that they were doing. And here it is, the Most High was able to tell him, hey, I'm with you wherever you go. And I'm gonna bring you back into this same place. So I say that to say that we have got to always keep things like this in mind, that the Most High is everywhere with us. And for us not to feel that we're alone, he don't know, let's just keep it positive that guess what? The Most High is in all places at all times. Just like he was just there and his presence was there and he had showed that unto Jacob. Okay, so verse 16.
And Jacob,
I'm sorry. Verse 17.
verse 17. And he was afraid and said, how dreadful is this place? This is none other but the house of God. This is the gate of heaven. And Jacob rose up early
So for him to see and feel that that was a gate of heaven, remember that he didn't just through the spirit see a small event or portion. He had to see a broad spectrum of different things that was happening in order for him to feel like, oh wow, this is an entry right here. This is a lot going on. That's what I'm seeing from this point right here. And that ain't gonna be moved because his eyes was open to see it. It's gonna remain there. It's still there to this day. Think about that. He just happened to, in the physical form, lay down in the physical form and see it. Okay. Because he said this place. So that place where he was is the place, is what he's saying. Okay. Above that place. So he's on the earth and he saw a ladder going up. So he was in the spot to where above this place right here is what he's trying to say. Yeah.
So my question is, do you believe or think that, when they ended up building, basically Jerusalem or the kingdom where everybody was at, and then there was like at a certain time each day the water would be troubled, like the angel would come down into the water and heal whoever was in it. It happened something like that. Because I'm associating that ladder with them coming down, with the angels coming down when.
No, you said, do I believe when they built? So I'm still
I
with
said
that.
build Jerusalem, like when the children of Israel was in the land, and it was like this big old pool of water that they would put the sick in for the lame, and
Right.
the angel would come down and the water would be troubled and heal whoever was in it.
Okay.
So I'm associating, do you believe that they built that in this spot and that same ladder was about like that?
Oh, no, I wouldn't know. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back.
So in Genesis chapter 28 and verse
17.
18. And Jacob rose up early in the morning and took the stone that he had put for his pillows and set it up for a pillar and poured oil upon the top of it. And he called the name of that place Bethel, but the name of that city was called Luz at the first. And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, if God will be with me and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God. And this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house. And of all that thou shalt give me, I will surely give the tenth unto thee.
First Timothy 6 and verse 8.
This is the book of First Timothy, chapter 6, and verse 8.
I'm sorry, verse Yes, verse 6 and then verse 8.
1 Timothy chapter 6 and 6. But godliness with contentment is great gain.
Mhm.
Verse 8. And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content.
Now go back to Genesis 28 and verse 20.
The book of Genesis chapter 28 and verse 20. And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, if God be with me, and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on.
Right. So you see how the spirit of the Most High is on Jacob and how he has that content spirit. He don't have a spirit of the world, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, where he had to just have different things. And that's why I brought us to 1 Timothy 6 and then verse 8. So as soon as I heard that, I'm like, okay, this that spirit. He was content. He just wanted the Most High to provide for him, and he just provide for him. He was content. So that I come again to my Father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God. Okay? And this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house. So he's going to remember the vision that he had. So he's not going to be a forgetful person. The thing that the Most High showed unto him, he's not going to forget that, which we ain't supposed to forget that. When the Lord show us different things and dreams and visions, we're not supposed to forget that. We're supposed to let those things ponder in our heart, meaning they're supposed to keep on going. Most High communicating with you, okay? Of all that thou shalt give me, I will surely give the 10th unto thee. So the Most High, so he gonna feel that he gonna give a 10th of the stuff that the Most High give to him. He will give back unto the Most High because the Most High has given it unto him. But the point, and then I'm gonna stop it here, and we'll pick back up on next Tuesday. The point that I want us to get is through the Spirit, the last part where he had a spirit to be content. He didn't ask to be rich. You know, he didn't ask for a certain type of woman. He didn't ask for none of that. Those are certain things that we like. We have criteria that we feel it has to be like. We want our woman to be like this, or we want to have this type of job so that we can bring in this type of money. We want this type of lifestyle. Why don't you just say you want to be in the world? You know, because that's the lust of the flesh. You have got to learn to be content. You know, you got to learn to be able to survive off very little and understand that, okay, this is what I'm doing. I mean, I'm surviving and there's no big deal because it's like that. And don't make it a deal. And then if the Most High give it to you, he give it to you. You know, I've always found the Most High give people according to the cleanness of their hands. The Most High would give you. Satan give you too if you yield yourself to him, but you don't want that because that's a trick. You always want the Most High to give things to you, your God, and you get that by dealing right. All right, so the next chapter goes into where he meets Leah and Rachel, and then we'll start building the tribes, and then they'll begin to have the children, and then we'll start cooking with grease and start heading down into Egypt. But the history of how we got there, that's why we call it the journey, is just of importance. Because these are the certain things you have to be able to identify with. And You have to be able to converse one with another, and you have to be able to teach it to your children. And also, somebody might ask you, what are you doing it for? 1 Peter 3:15. Get that.
This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 15. But sanctify the Lord God in your hearts.
Right. Separate. That's what sanctify is. Separate the Most High in your mind from everything else. Go ahead.
And be ready always to give an answer to every man that asks you a reason of the hope that is in you, with meekness and fear.
Right. So it's good to go through the long version so that you can know, and you will be able to give them a reason on why you do what you do. You'll be able to teach them and tell them, I read this. You should read that. I read this and read that. Give them a reason of the hope that's in you. Oh, I do this because of that. And not just, the Passover and that's it. From the journey to why do we even need a Passover? We ain't listen. We need to be delivered. This whole thing, you understand the gravity of what's all this information that's been pouring out onto this body from the beginning of when this class started. From the council in heaven that was surrounded by an innumerable multitude of angels that say, what the Most High say, hey, okay, I'm going to do something good for y'all. Find some place for you to go. I'm going to create it. Man, you got to be here and you got to be paying attention, though. Our high holy days that's listed in the scriptures, they denote deliverance. The other day, someone asked, did you keep St. Patrick's? I said, well, who is? There's no saint named Patrick in the scriptures. Some guy in the 1400s. It has nothing to do with us. Some Edomites I had asked about it. They said 14, so they didn't even know. It says, but they didn't know he was. St. Patrick is a 5th century Romano-British Christian missionary and bishop in Ireland, known as the Apostle of Ireland. He is the primary patron saint of Ireland. Now, those people during those days were bloody. Allegedly, Christianity is one of the bloodiest religions ever known. When you look at the early century Christians, the ones that came with the crosses on, they were murderers and rapists and idolaters. And exalting the pagan image of the European Caesar Borgias. if you really want to get a grasp about, I don't know if a lot of you are, how many people in here are like series watchers? You got people that watch shows and then people that watch series. Sometimes I guess you don't really have a lot of time to do that, but who's in here a series watcher? Okay. Got a hand on scratch.
Oh, no, sorry.
Danza. Okay. So for those series watchers, you'd have to watch it, man. I saw what's the name of it now? Is this the Vikings?
Yeah, it's the Vikings. Yeah, it's the Vikings. It's the new Vikings.
Yeah, I can't think of it. It's the latest Vikings.
Heard about it.
When it first comes on, huh?
Yeah, that's
Vikings Valhalla. Now check this out. Vikings Valhalla. So Valhalla is what they're calling heaven. All right. So this is all Edomites, and they depicted. You can tell Satan is in this thing because they got it. They got it on point. They got it on point. All right. So when it first comes on, like I watched all the Vikings, and it's long. It's really long. You can get lost in it. It's so long. The first couple Viking shows, I mean, it's hella long. But anyway, so they it's an extension of this one here, which is like 100 years later. So they pick it up and they call it Vikings Valhalla. All right. So the way the story picked back up was it's a big feast. And it's a Viking feast. All right. And so I guess it's two brothers and one of them is having a party. And this Danish king summons the Viking, summons an army. And it reminded me of Antiochus on how he had paid all of his people for a year to be ready. So when the king summons you, you have to come. So at the big feast, at this brother's feast, when the movie first come on, you'll see them all in this dining hall. And the way it looked like a big old open warehouse building made of wood. And it's got a upper balcony that goes around. And then it's got wooden tables and stuff. And they drinking out of horns that come off of some type of deer or something that's cut off. And they drinking and stuff like that. So, it gets good. So the Viking king, the Danish king, he tells his army to come and they say, okay, I got the lead. So they lead the party, which is the feast, and they all take boats and they sail back to England. All right. They sail to England. So this is their early centuries, like somewhere around here. 5th, 6th, 7th. This is the early centuries. So they sail back to England and they go into, they like, well, what's up, king? But they don't say what's up. So they go in there, he's like, oh, come on in. And they all sit down and then they finna toast to something. And so he's walking around, the king is walking around talking. And then he drops a dime on them that he remembers 100 years ago where the Danes and the Vikings were enemies, and the Vikings had come over. They had come over and raped, robbed, and murdered, and took all the land. So this was 100 years. It's exactly 100 years later, right? And so he was repaying them back, but they was his fellows. So he kind of bagged up, and the whole army got slaughtered with bow and arrows. And that betrayal right there, it set the movie off. So now the Vikings, the other Vikings, they was apart. It's like, oh wow, our brothers got killed. So now all the Vikings in the world is coming together, and they put a real big effing army together to come against the Danes. So now you got the Vikings, and then there's some more people out here that's called berserks. You know what it is to go berserk, right? To go berserk, that means to go crazy, right? But guess what? The first name of the berserks are Christian berserks. So, what is that? So the Christian, they call Christian berserks. They psycho, they crazy, they mean, they tougher than the junkyard dog. They ride around on horses, they kill you, they got crosses on, everything. So when you see them in the movie, they was going through and they were killing a whole village. It wouldn't even matter. They was cutting the heads off, men, women, children, babies. The Christians during that time, bloody murders. It was one girl that escaped that's in the movie, one of the main characters. They raped her horribly and dug a knife in her back and put a big old cross in it. So she's walking around with keloid back with like a 2-inch thick wide scar across her back in the form of a cross. She spent the whole movie looking for the guy that did, the Christian that did that. So our people today that straight call themselves Christians, they are on a bandwagon for something bloody and murderous, and they don't even know where that came from. To be a Christian is to be a murderer. And they say, oh, well, we follow Christ. No, it's a lot deeper than what you're saying. It first started off as something derogatory to be called a Christian, not something righteous. Why do you have to be called something outside of what God called you in the scriptures? Why not just settle with what he called you? He said that you're the Israelites. He didn't say that you are the Christians. Who named you Christian? They were first called Christian at Antioch under Antiochus. You see? And those people that lived in Antioch in Maccabees, the first chapter, they all forsook everything about the Most High. But that's something that people don't know and they don't understand. They would just rather stay with their love affair with Christianity because they don't have to give an account. But when you do the research on the origin of Christianity, it is full of murder by Europeans, also known as the Edomites, that the Bible calls them Edomites. We call them Europeans because they came from Europe. All right. So that's it. Any questions? If you were a series watcher, go back and watch the movie. Yeah.
It's better to watch it from the beginning. Like watch
Of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. It might seem like it's boring, but it's gonna bust open. All those movies, they do some straight up fighting too. They do some real good depiction up in that too. All right, Matthew 26. Matthew 26 and 6. By receipt of the Lord, that which also I delivered unto you, that a Mashiach Yahushua, whom the word calls Lord Jesus, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as often as you drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup. Excuse me?
Reading first. You read first.
Ah, I ain't reading it all. I know about it. I'm sorry. Matthew 26 and 6. Matthew 26 and 6. Now, when Christ was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box. Thank you for the correction. A very precious ornament and poured it on his head as he said at me. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ornament might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahushua, whom the world calls Jesus, so we say Yahushua, that's the Hebrew pronunciation in Hebrew for Christ. Understood it. When he understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath brought good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me you have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman hath done be told for a memorial of her. So our praises to the Most High for giving us to the Spirit. Come forth and give Christ and comfort for his burial and bring forth a beautiful example of a broken and contrite heart. So our praises. All right. Now, the communion of Christ, 1 Corinthians 11:23. For I received of the Lord, and which also I delivered unto you, that Mashiach Yahushua, whom the word calls Lord Jesus, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And he had given thanks, he brake it and said, take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also he took the cup when he supped, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as often as you drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do show the Lord's death to the come. Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. Let a man examine himself, so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. But he that eateth and drinketh unworthily, eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. For this cause many are weak and sickly among you, meaning sleep. For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. But when we are judged, we are chastened of the Lord, that we should not be condemned with the world. That's it. Okay, Israel. All right, most high name of Christ. Thank you for the food, drink, amen.
Amen.
This is Bible spoken for you. This is brother. Okay, so that's it. We're gonna stand and face Jerusalem. Stay around for the prayers. So afterwards, downstairs come up after prayer. Those downstairs come up. Okay, Israel.
If every man was just like me, what kind of sanctuary would this be?
The Lord's Prayer, Matthew 6:9. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debt to us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The Labor's Prayer, Luke 10:2. Therefore said he unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the labors are few. Pray therefore the Lord of the harvest that he will send forth labors into his harvest. Bless you, Most High, King of heaven and earth, and all things, Most High, in the name of the Christ. Send more disciples and teachers to your harvest, to gather your people Israel, and send counsel behind your laws to stand before thy people Israel. Give to us strength to break down our lives with thy word, in Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The blessing of Israel, Numbers chapter 6:24. Children of Israel, the Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Hey, children of Israel, bless one another.
Most High, in the name of Christ, bless you all.
Hey, we're gonna meet real quick before we get out of here. Give them a chance to come up.
Okay, please come on. All right, Israelites, Most High Christ bless. Good night.